in this episode of Carolina to Cagayan, we're going to discuss several things. First of all, I want to talk about what happened a couple days ago. A couple days ago, my back door was kicked in, and these motherfuckers came in here. They took all of my weapons, they took my safe, and worst of all, they took my fucking passport. Now I have to reapply. The biggest part that pisses me off is that this passport already had Philippine stamps in it, and now I have to redo this all over again. Whatever. I know who you are, motherfucker, and if you come back in here again, there's going to be a problem. So let's get started with what we're going to talk about. In this episode, we're going to talk about importing dogs to the Philippines. Okay, so first of all, there are a few pet relocation services out there, and it basically works like this. You go on their website, you enter your dog's information such as his or her weight, what sort of breed, etc., etc. Then what you do is you submit the information, and a couple days later they will either email you or call you. And let me tell you, with a small dog, it's rather easy. But for a dog that's large like mine, pushing 100 pounds, it is kind of complicated and expensive. So anyway, these pet relocation companies on average wanted to charge around $5,000. And they all use the same type of carrier. So how it would work is you would go down to your veterinarian and have the veterinarian do a physical of your dog to make sure that the dog is free of any kind of worms, make sure that your dog has no types of diseases, rabies, all caught up with everything. And so your veterinarian sends this off to a USDA certified veterinarian, and they endorse it and they send it back to you, usually within 24 hours or a couple days. And when I talk to my veterinarian, it's about $200 US to get this done. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be your veterinarian doesn't necessarily have to be USDA certified. They can send it off and it's good enough. So the Philippines wants this, and we'll get into the transportation stuff in a moment. So the first thing is that you need a import permit issued by the Philippine Bureau of Animal Industry. And basically you just go to that website, which I'll put it here on the bottom, and you fill out the information, and I believe there's no cost to that. I haven't done it yet. And you have to do this within 30 days of taking your dog to the Philippines. All right. Basically all done online. If that doesn't work, I believe there's just an email that you can send the information to, and they'll email it back. So that's a free permit. It just basically lets them know that your dog is going to be arriving in Manila. They send you it back, and you want to make 2 copies. The first copy you keep on your person with your carry-on. The second copy, of course, goes in with your veterinarian certificates, USDA veterinarian approval, and all this other stuff onto your pet carrier. All right, and the second thing or the third thing is rather, so you need the BIA permit, you need your USDA permit, which you get through your veterinarian, and the third thing that's mandatory is that your dog or cat needs a ISO compliant microchip, an RFID microchip. Make sure through your veterinarian that the address and everything is up to date on the microchip. Okay, so and just to kind of let you know that after June 1st of 2018, that the dogs and cats imported will be turned back to the U.S. if they don't have this stuff, either from the point of origin or at your connection area. The second thing is for the transportation of your pets, just like I told you, blah, blah. The other thing is that you can constantly check on the status of this. So if you're not hearing back from the BIA regarding their no-charge permit, then that's great. Just give them an email. Now, when you get to the Philippines, when you go through the dumpster fire of that airport, Um, you're going to go through immigration, and then you're going to go make sure you have all your paperwork on you, and then you're going to go to the quarantine. There's a big sign that says quarantine, and you're going to present them with the paperwork. And I don't remember how much it costs, but you know it's like under 40 bucks. Be sure to always have pesos on you, so you don't get screwed on uh, that. So that's what the paperwork you need. And again, you need to have all that paperwork on you, and you also need a copy on the side of your carrier if it's a big dog. If he goes into the checked luggage, and that should be stuck in one of those clear sealed envelopes on the side of the carrier. Now, today I went and checked out some carriers. ITIA, I believe it's called. They have standards for transporting dogs and cats. Uh, the carrier should be compliant with that. It should not be cheap plastic with cheap little spinny lug nuts on it that can come apart, and there should be little bowls in the front. Now, again, I'm only talking about checked dogs. I cannot talk about small cats or dogs that you're going to carry in the cabin with you, because it doesn't apply to me. I'm only talking about really dogs. Now, my dog is big. He is about 90 pounds, and there's a problem with this. Of course, I can't take him into the cabin with me, but I have to put him in the checked baggage underneath the airplane, and I have to coordinate with the airline. So here's what I had to do. Here's what I did. Thus far, I contacted Delta. Delta ain't going to do it unless it's a military animal if they're relocated. I talked to United. United will, however, the problem is they keep it under a 13-hour flight, and that includes your connection and your final destination. So there's no way in hell you're going to be able to take your dog with you in checked baggage from here, from the U.S. to the Philippines, because United won't do it. They just won't do it because they've had so many problems. However, with the pet relocation companies that want to charge on average around $5,000, what they do is they use an airlines out of Amsterdam. They transport your pet from either Dulles International Airport, Houston, LA, or Miami to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to Manila, and that's around $5,000. I don't remember. KLM Airlines. You could do that yourself, but if you live in a part of the country where you can't go to one of those airports, you're kind of screwed. So I figured, how much would the difference be if I figured out all the paperwork myself, all the transportation myself, and call different airlines? So again, Delta's not going to do it, United's not going to do it, and all U.S. based airlines are not going to do it. They're not going to do it because of the USDA rule of 12 to 13 hour complete trip. So there are the non-US based airlines that don't have to comply with that. So again, that's KLM out of Amsterdam, super expensive, and they require you using a pet relocation service, or you can do it yourself. So what I'm going to have to do is go get my dog's veterinary stuff certified by USDA. That's not a problem. About $200 within 30 days of leaving. Also within 30 days of leaving, I need to get my permit to the Philippines for the dog and get all that paperwork together and make sure I have one copy again on my person and one copy on the side of the carrier. Now, the alternative to this is A&A Airlines. Remember this, A&A Airlines if you have a big dog. So A&A Airlines wants the following. Basically, get your ticket as early as possible. Your ticket and the dog's plane ticket. You're going to be going together in the same airplane. A&A Airlines, get your ticket as early as possible and let them know you're bringing your huge dog with you. in check baggage. I mean, you know, if you can do it more than 90 days, great, but still you have to comply with the 30 days with the Philippines and with the USDA certificate within 30 days. But if you get your airplane or your airline ticket with you and the dog together cheaper, earlier, better. But you always have to tell them to earmark room for you and your dog as early as possible, okay? The second thing is that for ANA Airlines, which is all Nippon Airlines, is a Japanese carrier. Again, it's one of those issues where they go out of the major airports. I'm in North Carolina, so I'm going to have to go to Washington, D.C., not a big deal. All right? ANA Airlines does not require the 13-hour rule. They do not require all this other crap. All right? But here's what they do want. They want your dog to be, including the carrier, remember, very important, including the carrier, under 99 pounds. Okay? They're going to want all the paperwork submitted to them during your flight. So when you arrive with your big dog at the airport, you're going to give them all your USDA paperwork, and you're also going to give them a consent and release form saying that you're not going to sue them in the way that if I did something wrong, such as, you know, a bad carrier and he fell out and the dog died in the bottom of the airplane, I would not sue them for that, but it has to do with any kind of egregious things that they're responsible for, they are not indemnified against. So basically you're going to give them your paperwork on that, sign it right then and right, don't sign it before, right then and there. You're going to give them the veterinary certificate, and then you're going to be sure to pay them. Now, I know everybody's going to ask me, oh, you know, would it be easier if I just go through a pet relocation? Hey, if you want to spend $5,000, great. Me, I ain't going to spend that. It's going to be, believe it or not, $400. That's right, $400. So it's all good. So I'm going to be paying about $200 for my veterinary stuff, so it's $600. And of course, going to Washington, D.C. a couple hours from here is no big deal at all. So about $700, I'm going to do it. Now, however, if you were to drive from, let's say, you know, Dallas to Chicago or whatever, and you wanted to fly your dog from Dallas to Chicago as a connection, it's going to be about $1,500 through United or Delta or one of those. So if you can have your carrier disassembled and your doggy with you, and you get to the airport, assemble your carrier, have all your paperwork together, wheel your dog in, blah blah, pay the nice lady, and give them your paperwork. Also, and when you're at the gate, getting ready to board, or even way before then, be sure to inform the gate lady, and even during boarding, remind the people that are welcoming you on board to tell the pilot, or you tell the pilot if they're standing there next to you, hey, I have a dog, be sure to make sure he's comfortable. Now, my dog will be going from Washington, D.C. to Tokyo. Now, being as my dog is in transit, he doesn't require any kind of paperwork for Japan. However, ANA Airlines tell me that when they pull him out of my overseas plane to go from the U.S. to Japan, when they pull him out of that plane, they're going to feed him a little bit, give him water. They're not going to walk him, right? Then they will put him on the connection plane to Manila from Tokyo. And of course, like I said, when you get to Manila, you just you present your paperwork to quarantine after you get off the plane. And of course, when I get off the plane, you know, that's pretty much on me. So what I plan to do is just get a van or a truck and go to my final destination with my dog, because these local planes or these local airlines may give me a hard time in the Philippines. I don't know, because I never asked them. Maybe Cebu Pacific or Asian Air or one, I don't know. Okay, but I don't know what the rules are, and I really don't want to mess with them. I'm sure if I threw enough money on it, it'd be okay. but I'm just going to drive to my final destination. So that's how you're going to go about the thing yourself, and I highly recommend doing the legwork and paperwork yourself. You're going to save yourself about $4,000. Um, but if you feel more comfortable using a organization to do this for you, great. But as a business owner, I pinch for pennies. Anyway, so if y'all have any questions or comments or concerns, please let me know, and be sure to subscribe, and we will talk to y'all later.